Hi, I want to show you a little bit about a spreadsheet because I think this is going to be a really valuable thing to learn that we probably don't teach enough of. So I'm taking advantage of the opportunity um, with this at-home schooling. So here's the idea of a spreadsheet. I'm obviously not showing you Google spreadsheet. I'm just showing you a spreadsheet. But this might be an easier way to understand it. So a spreadsheet has an unlimited number of rows or columns. We go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, et cetera, and then it goes AA and AB and AC. It keeps going forever and ever. And also a pretty unlimited number of rows. There are limits to these, but there's like 8,000 rows and I don't know, 100 256 columns or something. You're not going to run out of them. Each cell can contain either a word, lots of words, or a number or a formula. If you have lists of words, you can sort them. You can do all sorts of functions with words. I want to show you a little bit about math though. Let's say you wanted to figure the volume of a prism out. Now we're not doing volume right now, we're doing surface area, but volume's easy of a prism. You just take length and multiply it by width and multiply it by height. So in a spreadsheet, you might want to label the first column those three words. So here you might put length, here you might put width, and here you might put height. Okay. And then next to those, in the next column, you might put numbers. Let's say you put 7, and you put 3, and you put 2. So you put some numbers in. And then here you might say, well, you might write in volume. Now, I'm just using color just to use some color. Volume. And here you might do an equation. So this equation would want to be this number times this number times this number. But we're not going to say 7 times 3 times 2. We're going to use the cell that 7 is in to refer to it as. So equations always start off with equal signs. And this first cell is B1 because it's in column B and it's row 1. And then you'll put a little star for multiplication. And you want to multiply that times B3. And then you want to multiply it times B4. So multiplication again, B4. And that's what would go in that equation. And when you hit enter, your answer would appear. Your answer seems like it would be 42. Now what's nice about the equation is, if you then go and change the 3 to something else, the equation will recalculate automatically. If you change all the numbers to something else, the equation will recalculate automatically. Or you also could do this. You could copy this equation over to this cell. Now, if you copy the equation to the cell, like using Control-C to copy or right-click to copy or even edit copy, select the cell and edit copy off the board, and then come over here and select paste. It's not going to copy equals B1 times B3. Oh, geez. This should be B2, but times B. This should be B1 times B2 times B3. B1 times B2 times B3. It's not going to give you B1 times B2 times B3. It's going to give you C1 times C2 times C3, because copying is relative to its position. So this cell is going to say C1 times C2 times C3. And it's going to want to add these 3 cells. And it would just say 0 for right now. And you could put in numbers and it would populate them. So it does equations really well. Right. The other thing I want you to see is up in the top, up in the command row, there's a symbol like that, which means sigma in Greek, but it means the sum of a bunch of things. And this is just a symbol that then brings a whole list of functions. If you do the sum function, it will add a bunch of numbers. It will give you a sum. So the sum function, instead of listing out different cells like we did here with multiplication, which you could do, the sum function works as a range. So when you select the sum function, it brings this thing up that has a parenthesis on it already, and you're supposed to select cells. And when you select these 3 cells, for example, it will, that needs to be a D. D1, it will say D1 dot dot D3. And what that'll do is that'll add up whatever numbers are here. So if these numbers were 5, 57, and 30, this would then read, what would that read? 63, 62, 60, 92, of course, 92. If you change those numbers, the sum will change. So these things, these calculations just keep happening automatically. All right, that's just a little bit about spreadsheet to get you going. What I'd like you to do is try to make a spreadsheet to figure out the surface area of a rectangular prism so that you can type numbers in, dimensions, if you will, length and width of different shapes. You can do different things with it, and come up with something. I'll show you a little bit about that in a separate video.